In May 1944, the escort destroyer USS England was deployed near New Guinea to locate and sink a lone Japanese submarine reported in the area. But within a few days, the crew of the England suddenly found themselves right in the middle of an entire line of hostile submarines. Wasting no time at all, they embarked on the most remarkable anti-submarine action of the entire war. By May 1944, the Imperial Japanese Navy was trying to guess what the US Navy's next move would be. Following the American capture of the Marshall Islands earlier that year, there were two main possibilities: westwards towards Palau in the Caroline Islands or northwest to the Mariana Islands. To gather intelligence on US fleet movements, that month Admiral Soimu Toyoda deployed Submarine Squadron 7 to the area south of the Caroline Islands to engage in patrols, reconnaissance and surprise attack against enemy task forces. It was in this part of the Pacific that the USS England had been operating. England was a Buckley-class escort destroyer commissioned at the end of 1943 and assigned as part of Escort Division 39 along with her sister ships George and Raby, led by Commander Hamilton Haynes. These three ships had experienced a quiet start to their war, taking part in routine escort and transport duties across the Southwest and Central Pacific. They had all been outfitted and trained for anti-submarine warfare and were anxious to put those skills to the test. In the middle of May, their chance arrived, when in addition to the NA line, the Japanese deployed the submarine I-16 to make a supply run to the beleaguered garrison at Buin on Bougainville, carrying bags of rice. I-16's orders were intercepted and decrypted by the Americans, and on May 18th, Escort Division 39 was ordered out from their base at Port Purvis to intercept it. All three ships were equipped with the new Hedgehog anti-submarine mortar as well as depth charges, and the crew of England were especially well prepared. England's executive officer was Lieutenant John Williamson, who had previously served in the Atlantic and seen first-hand the danger of German U-boats, so had drilled England's crew relentlessly for months on anti-submarine warfare. Now their time had come to put their skills into practice. Just before we get into the remarkable events that followed, I'd like to say a quick thank you to today's sponsor, World of Warships Legends. Legends is a free-to-play multiplayer game for consoles that lets you sail and fight more than 400 ships from 11 different nations, with new vessels added every 5 weeks. With easy-to-learn controls, you can soon jump into battles where strategy and good forward thinking matter more than just having the fastest reflexes. Engagements vary from 9v9 to chaotic brawls with 4 teams of 3. You can take command of small but deadly destroyers much like the USS England, well-rounded cruisers, versatile aircraft carriers, and mighty battleships. This summer's update in World of Warships Legends is American themed to mark the 4th of July. Leading the celebration is the return of the Louisiana, a legendary tier hybrid battleship with 406mm guns, strong secondaries, and airstrike torpedoes, yours as the final reward in a new Free Bureau project. There's updated visuals for the New York port, more ships to unlock, and a new DLC available featuring the Destroyer Hill and Battleship New Mexico that console players can purchase. Use the link in the description to join 8 million players in signing up to play World of Warships Legends today. By the morning of May 19th, the 3 destroyers were closing in on the expected path of the Japanese submarine. They planned to intersect it 24 hours ahead of the sub and then run up the path until they found it, but in fact no such patience was required. Shortly before 2 PM, England's sonar operator picked up a contact on the ship's starboard bow at close range. England's captain, Lieutenant Commander Walton Pendleton, swung into action, attacking with the ship's forward-firing Hedgehog system. The Hedgehog, which fires a large number of small mortar bombs, was a relatively new innovation, giving escorts another weapon in their anti-submarine armoury. Unlike conventional depth charges, the Hedgehog bombs only exploded on contact with a hard surface, so when nothing was heard from England's initial salvos, there was disappointment on board. The Japanese sub twisted and turned, trying to hide in England's wake and find ways of throwing off the destroyer's aim. After more unsuccessful Hedgehog attacks, Pendleton turned over control of the ship to Lieutenant Williamson, who had more anti-sub experience. Williamson lined up for a fifth run at 2:33 p.m, and this time 4 bombs hit the submarine almost simultaneously, creating a huge explosion. Initially, crew on board the England thought that they had been torpedoed, but it soon became clear that it was their opponent who had gone to the bottom. I-16 sank with all 107 hands aboard. It had been England's first battle and its first victory. They weren't about to stop there. On the afternoon of May 20th, Commander Haynes was informed that further Japanese intercepts had revealed the presence of the NA line, with 7 submarines arranged to the north between Manus and Truk. Each submarine was 30 miles apart, and Haynes now ordered his division to proceed from the northeast of this line southwest until they reached the end, engaging any submarines they came across. For the next 4 days, the 3 ships scythed through the Japanese line, encountering and attacking submarine after submarine. Some of the battles against determined and skilled submarine captains would last for hours, but on each occasion the destroyers were victorious, and on each occasion, by luck or by skill, it was England that dealt the final decisive blow. On May 26th, another American force arrived to join the hunt, consisting of the escort carrier Hoggett Bay and 4 destroyers. Commander Haynes' division was ordered to Manus to replenish fuel and ammunition. The 3 destroyers arrived there in the early hours of the following day, but not before they had encountered and England had sunk yet another submarine despite being critically low on fuel and ammunition. By this stage, alarm bells were ringing at the headquarters of Admiral Toyoda on Saipan. On May 27th, Japanese codebreakers intercepted American reports detailing the sinking of several submarines. Realizing the NA line had been rumbled, Toyoda ordered all remaining submarines to withdraw west from the area. RO-109 and RO-112 heeded this order and fled west, but RO-105 either did not receive the order or chose to ignore it, remaining stubbornly on station. After resupplying at 6 p.m. on May 28th, England got underway again, with the division now joined by the destroyer USS Spangler. They steered northwards back to the NA line to continue their sweep. The first day of this second patrol passed without incident, but in the early hours of May 30th, the destroyer Hazelwood, escorting the Hoggett Bay, gained contact with RO-105 and mounted a depth charge attack with no success. Hazelwood's captain asked for the assistance of Commander Haynes' division, and he dispatched the George and Raby to the area as they were closest to the scene, while Spangler and England continued to patrol to the southwest. For the whole of the day, George and Raby engaged in a cat-and-mouse action, as the Japanese submarine ducked and weaved between them, just managing to avoid destruction. By 3 a.m. on May 31st, England and Spangler were coming back north, having reached the end of the patrol line. They knew nothing of what had been happening until England's bridge crew began to pick up the other 2 destroyers on radio, and it was clear that they were coordinating a hunt for a submarine. England offered their assistance, but back came a sharp reply from one of the destroyers. "We're not telling you where we are. We have a damaged sub and we're going to sink him. Don't come near us." The fact that despite intense efforts from all destroyers, it had been England that had monopolised all of the sinking so far had perhaps not gone unnoticed. So England kept her distance for the time being. Not long afterwards, the Japanese submarine was forced to surface after 26 hours submerged under near constant attack. Both George and Raby got radar contact and raced towards it, each eager to be the one to send RO-105 to the bottom. The Japanese sub, commanded by the highly experienced Captain Ryonosuke Kaito, cleverly kept itself between the 2 ships, blocking the line of fire for each of them. This prevented either from pressing an attack with gunfire long enough for the submarine to replenish its oxygen and submerge again. By this time, England and Spangler were making their way towards the ongoing hunt, whether the others wanted them there or not. Shortly after dawn, Commander Haynes resumed attack runs on the sub, with each ship taking it in turns. First up was George at 6:49 a.m, no hits scored. Then 10 minutes later, Raby, no hits scored. Next up was Spangler, going in for its first attack run of the operation. No hits scored. Finally, almost exasperatedly, Commander Haynes ordered England in at 7:29 a.m. A few minutes later, England steamed over the top of the submarine, fired its hedgehogs and scored between 6 and 10 hits. RO-105 crumpled and sank swiftly. This must have been both incredible and frustrating to watch for the other destroyer crews. They had hunted this submarine for 30 hours, launched 21 separate attacks, and then England had strolled up, taken one go at it, and been successful. With the loss of RO-105, Haynes's destroyers had sunk 6 submarines in 12 days, all of them by the USS England, which had gone from essentially no real combat experience to one of the most successful sub-hunters of the entire war in less than 2 weeks. Only the British destroyer HMS Starling can be said to have sunk more enemy submarines, and that was over the course of years. It was a quite incredible feat, recognised with a Presidential Unit Citation in July 1944. The destruction of Submarine Squadron 7 was a heavy blow for the Japanese Navy, now shorn of its eyes and ears in this part of the Pacific. It left them guessing as to where a US fleet could have gone, and made them more unprepared when one turned up near the Mariana Islands a few weeks later for the Battle of the Philippine Sea. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.